The funny thing is I never saw. I only watched Sherlock recently, which I really enjoyed. I just watched it straight through in a big binge, you know.
Thanks very much.
And I really liked it. It's funny because I saw the film of August Osage County, and I just didn't really. I hadn't seen you in anything or something,
Yeah.
and I was totally shocked that you were from England. I really was. Like,
Really?
I thought that pairing, those two, that couple was really tender. That was my favorite part of the film. But I mean, I think that my sense is like a show. It's a very different sort of thing because it even if it takes off, you're kind of in it. It's not like it does it and then it's like, what next? What was that, like 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one. I think it sort of changed everything and nothing at the same time. It's one of those because we worked very hard to try and get it what it was and what it is, hopefully, and where it will go. But it was also something that we knew would have a certain amount of attention on it because he's such an iconic character. But it was really bizarre. But then it sort of crept up into my actual life very slowly. I mean, I'm thrilled that what I've done is successful and that it's going well and people love it. But at the same time, it's the last thing I want to do is to sort of suffocate the space I had before to be able to do that. Otherwise, the perverse thing is the fame then kind of drowns the air you need to create the thing that made you famous in the first place. You need your space. You need to be able to work at a certain pace or just be an artist, really, rather than being just famous. And that I'm still adjusting to. I'm still finding my way around that. It's really helpful to see how past masters have done it and just understand that you can remain sane in the insanity of it all.
It's one of the supreme ironies, I think, of all these things, films and plays and all of it, is a certain glamour gets attached to the event of these things, but the truth is of the doing of it is it's not that glamorous. It's a very, I find it to be a very pleasingly working class kind of, working class isn't the right word, but it's a work, you know, it's a big,
it's a working day.
Yeah, it's not all of it, it's hundreds of people involved and it's a very tight community of people and it's often very humbling. It's the work itself never really.
That normalizes the crazy.
I think there's nothing better than just working. So I kind of think that's the best antidote.
Yeah, you know, I'm just determined to have some fun with that side of things and not take it too seriously. And within work, it's wonderful to flex your muscles and show that you've got a comedic side, or you know, you can examine things that are very close to you in a very honest way, even though you're still getting dressed up and, you know, going to, you know, that wasn't Edward Norton, that was your character. But it touched on loads of things which I think, you know, the sort of acting community industry is just, I think it's one of the reasons the film is just extraordinary, is it's so rawly honest about every single perversity of what we do and brilliantly performed.
I admire very, very much, let's call it like the, you know, in the furthest end of the spectrum, you have sort of the Bob Dylans, the J.D. Salingers, guys like Daniel Day-Lewis, who I admire enormously, not just as an actor, but
how he lives his life.
In terms of his commitment to firewalling. There's a distinct value, I think, to the depth of the impact the work of an actor can have if you don't see them very often. And you don't know much about them otherwise.
I'm kind of screwed on that front there. I'm kind of, you know, I was born into, I mean, with the way it happened with me, into a pretty hot spotlight, and you're talking about extraordinary degrees of extraction from the work and from the process.
I know.
And I mean, I'd love to be in the position that Daniel Day-Lewis is and come in and work for 4 years for one project and then not be seen.
Right. But that's what I'm saying is, I think
one of the reasons I got a publicist is to make them stop, make them stop the focus, make them stop all of this.
It's what I would call, you know, wise detachment, but also healthy engagement. You know, it's like one part of the brain says, don't be too precious about this. You're not a doctor in Liberia helping Ebola patients. You're an actor. You're an entertainer. You know, and if you can show up to help a good cause, like, do it. And if you can have a little fun laughing at yourself, do it. You know.
And the other half is, aren't I supposed to be an artist? Isn't there supposed to be some kind of preserve and mystique about what we do?
Exactly.
And the continual kind of examination of it on every kind of media is sort of saturating any...
And corrosive to doing a work that's really impactful, you know?
I agree.
And two, by the way, the fact that it's just, again, and it is sort of what Birdman's about, but the brain says, I need to work, I want to work. Actors the lack of autonomy that actors have in their
Yeah.
early careers sets up a paradigm where you say, well, if I'm getting a job, I should take the job, you know?
Yeah.
And
there's a great strength from realizing that it doesn't all stop if you say no.
I know,
That's
and
really
those,
important.
but those balances are tricky. Those are tricky. They're just, I find
You seem to do it very well, I have to say.
it's a constant, ongoing debate in my own head about the value of discipline versus the value of,
Having fun.
yeah, and not taking it all too seriously and having fun with it. And
But
all of
I
it.
agree with you. I think it's a much healthier thing to do that within work, you know.